Hello, class. So today we're supposed to be looking at an individual from 1865 to the turn of the century. The person that I decided to look at truly was a genius who was before his time, definitely. And the person I was looking at and considered was none other than Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla, of course, was born in 1856 in a small town in the Austro-Hungary Empire in what would today be called Croatia. He was actually destined to become a priest of all things, Eastern Orthodox priest, as his grandfather and father had been, and his older brother was supposed to be, except for he passed away in an accident. So he then ends up gaining this supposed to be this legacy, but he comes up with cholera. His father makes a bargain. If my son lives, he can do whatever he wishes. Tesla decided he wanted to become an engineer. So they send him to school. Tesla, while he was in school, learned 6 languages, could do calculus in his head. This guy was brilliant. He would then later end up being kicked out of school for gambling. Later would end up going back after working. The guy was a workaholic, truly working hours on end. Then, of course, he ends up, while he was in school the second time, this is when he actually starts to come up with the idea of a relative magnetic field. This is what is the initial concept that would later create his alternating current motor. He is the one who ends up coming up and pushing the whole alternating current. This starts up when he was working for Thomas Edison back in 1883. When he was working at Edison, he lasted there about 6 months. Felt that he was not getting the recognition nor getting what was due for his abilities and what he was accomplishing, and he quit. He said that they actually offered him at the time $50,000 for his motor and other inventions that he had come up with, and then they reneged on the deal. Edison was one who was pushing for direct current. Tesla, of course, alternating current. Alternating current, direct current is not nearly as powerful as alternating current. Doesn't give the same ability and distance or anything else. Alternating current is what we use today. Now, of course, there was a big issue. There was a point where they tried to discredit him and everything else. But that comes down later down the line because he does set up his own business. And during his time as setting up his own business, he works with 2 individuals who decided to fund him, but they were thinking that they were going to get a utility company, not somebody manufacturing engines to create electricity. So they didn't really like the idea of manufacturing, the cost and work that comes with it. They pull out. They leave him penniless. He ends up having to work menial jobs in a while. Then he finally finds a new investor. The new investor then puts their money in, and they see this new innovations that he's creating, and he's actually creating something that's completely different. And he ends up teaming up with Westinghouse within this time. In this time, he creates the alternating current motor, and which would later then he would then in 1893 during the World's Fair in Chicago at the Columbian Exposition, he would light up the whole display with just one small engine. Nothing had ever been done like this before. Something that was completely different. He would in time also ends up creating, coming up with radio waves, X-rays, all these things. He creates in the early 1900s, he creates a remote control boat on the ideal that he would actually be able to have wage war without people being there, with it actually being controlled remotely. This is something that completely different. He would set up a second company. The second company would then fall after he ran across hard times, so did Westinghouse. In this point, he would then lose his company in 1915. He had over 700 patents. And of course, as you see, some of the stuff